HDTV.
Nashville, Tennessee, the heart of Dixie, usually a shining beacon of musical wonder. But tonight, we're singing a different tune.
Here comes you!
Hey, I'll fight anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. Eric and I are friends. We're cool, so, yeah, sure, I'll take that fight. Let's do it!
It is good night, Irene!
I heard Nick Newell say he's taking the belt home with him. Well, I can give him my address so he can just bring it to me personally.
After nearly a year of absolute dominance on the XFC stage, undefeated Nick Newell will get the chance to put any questions to bed.
To fight for a world title is an honor. I plan on leaving the cage as a world champion.
As a card-carrying veteran, Eric Reynolds is no stranger to the spotlight. But tonight, he'll finally get his chance to stand champion of them all.
Time is due. It's time to get my hardware.
Nick Newell and Eric Reynolds go to war for the strap. Live from Nashville, Tennessee, this is XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV. Can a one-armed fighter become a legitimate mixed martial arts champion? Will Nick Newell's amazing Cinderella story have a fairy tale ending? We'll find out tonight live from the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee, XFC 21 Night of Champions number 2. Hello everybody, I'm Michael Chavallo. Welcome to Nashville. I'm joined once again by my verbal sparring partner, former UFC champion, Pat Miletich. Pat, the main event tonight we have all been waiting for, especially notorious Nick Newell. A young man born with congenital amputation of his left arm, who overcame incredible odds to amass an 8-0 undefeated mixed martial arts career. He has become a TV sensation, a YouTube sensation, a media darling. And tonight, Pat, finally, he gets a chance at a legitimate mixed martial arts title, the XFC 155-pound strap against the tough Eric Reynolds. To say this is the biggest test of Nick's career is no understatement. Nick may be 8-0, but Reynolds is 16-4, and notorious Nick Newell has never fought an opponent the caliber of Reynolds.
Right, Reynolds is a very well-rounded guy, great striker. He's got good submissions on the ground, and Nick Newell is going to have to watch out for all of it tonight. Nick Newell, though, you know, he's on that run of 8-0. He's determined. He's on a mission to win this fight tonight and win the belt, and it's a motivational story.
Pat, we've seen Nick Newell before many a time. He showed superb strike in his last contest, a brilliant knee knockout. Before that, he's shown wicked submissions. He's shown he can fight off submissions like against Chris Coggins, who took him the distance. But tonight, you feel that Reynolds brings him a superior striking game to that any opponent has brought before. How will Nick defend the strikes, particularly if Reynolds goes hunting on that left side of Nick's body?
Well, he likes to throw that arm, the shortened arm, up high and block with that. But I tell you what, on the ground, you know, defending yourself on the ground is a whole nother story. He did it successfully in his last fight against Coggins, fighting off the chokehold, the rear choke, mind you, which is hard to do with two hands. But on the ground, the strikes can really become a problem when you're mounted or even somebody in your guard to be able to stop those strikes.
Had it's been said before that shortened left arm that Nick Newell was born with can be a disadvantage, or it can be an advantage. Or is it a disadvantage naturally that Nick has yearned to use to his advantage?
Well, I think for a guy who's fighting somebody like Nick Newell, well, you haven't dealt with that before. So it's definitely an advantage for him offensively. Throwing those short shots with it, the elbows can really catch you off guard. When he's in your guard, you just can't stop him very easily because it's so compact and very dangerous. But defensively, I think it can be a hindrance possibly in certain positions. But he's obviously modified his game to deal with what he's got.
The bookmakers for tonight's main event have Nick Newell as the underdog. He is -300 to win the lightweight strap. Eric Reynolds comes in the favourite at plus 230. As we take a closer look here at the always durable and the great striking of Eric Reynolds. Pat, if you're playing Supercoach here tonight, what are you telling Eric Reynolds to do to put that 155-pound strap around his waist?
Well, I'm telling him to keep a low stance, work on his striking. Don't get overextended, and certainly don't let Newell bulldog him up against the cage and get those takedowns, because I think that's the one weakness in Reynolds' game, is that takedown defense, possibly against a guy like Newell, who is a good wrestler, that could be his Achilles heel.
And Pat, you had the chance to speak to Nick Newell yesterday. We saw him in the change rooms just about a half hour ago. He is looking relaxed. He is looking confident. He was joking around. He was full of smiles. A little gaunt after the weigh-in, though, yesterday. What did Nick say his game plan would be for that championship here tonight?
Well, let's just say he wants to bring it. He does have good striking. He's modified that arm that he has all the use of. He throws great uppercuts with it and throws those elbows with the shortened arm. He's dangerous standing up, and he's probably going to look for a takedown, though, after he lands a few of those.
Folks, in our semi-main event here tonight, Ryan Thomas takes on Corey Hill. It's been a long time between drinks for Corey Hill, but you talk about a man, Pat, who just explodes with natural talent, and you do talk about Corey Hill, a big comeback fight, a tough contest for him here tonight.
Yeah, Hill trained at my gym for quite some time up in Iowa. He was a pleasure to have around, had great work ethic. He's had some tough luck in his career with the broken leg and some other things that have happened. But you talk about explosive and a superior athlete, a former national champion wrestler at 6'4". He used to be at 155. Now at 170, I think it's a better weight division for him. But up against Thompson, I mean, the one thing that you got to worry about when you're that long with that long of limbs is the submissions. And you know this guy from ATT's got submissions.
Folks, let's take you through the rest of the card here at XFC number 21, Night of Champions 2. In the featherweight division, Keith Richardson takes on the wild card, Jared Card. In the welterweights, Ricky Rainey takes on Donnie Wallace. Then at light heavyweights, this one should be a real stoush, as Marcus Finch takes on the explosive Dustin West. And the ladies battle it out in the strawweight division. Stephanie Egig takes on Heather Jo Clark. Pat, take us through the official rules for XFC 21.
Alrighty, Michael. The Tennessee Athletic Commission will be overseeing tonight's XFC. Unified rules will be used, so elbows to a downed opponent are legal. Our first 5 fights will be 3 5-minute rounds, and then our title fight tonight will be 5 5-minute rounds.
It is time to kick off XFC, a Night of Champions number 2. And as always, let's throw it up to our ring announcer, Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to XFC 21, Night of Champions 2, live from Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, make some noise! We are live on XFC, your home for mixed martial arts. Let's get this party started right now, and welcome into the arena for our first fight of the night, Keith Richardson.
The man they call the Rockstar, Keith Richardson, 5-1 in his last 6. 3 of those wins by submission. A black belt in combat jiu-jitsu under Patrick Sweet. He told us yesterday that Jared Card's chin is questionable. So the game plan here is rather simple. Hit that chin. Once he tags him on the jaw, he wants to get him on the ground and work some ground and pound. Richardson, a former Marine who served 3 tours of duty in Iraq. Also a North Carolina state champion wrestler in high school. Certainly this should be an entertaining contest to kick off XFC Night of Champions 2. As a great crowd continues to file in here in Nashville, as we kick down to that main event we're all so eagerly in anticipation of. Notorious Nick Newell taking on Eric Reynolds for the 155-pound title.
And now, please welcome into the arena, Jared Card.
What a moment here for Jared Card. He rose quickly through the ranks, but he has since fallen quite far. A chance to get back on track and start that trek to the top again. Riding a hat-trick of losses to Jose Vega, Luis Palomino, and that 47-second drubbing to Marlon Moraes in XFC 17 in April. Card, a former XFC featherweight champion, beat the likes of Jeff Bedard and Rocky Long. A purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Pat, really, in the place that Jared is in his career at the moment, this is a must-win fight. He cannot lose 4 on the trot.
Yeah, or his next fight will not be televised for sure. And Richardson is a tall order coming off 3 losses.
Not too much there in the tail of the tape between them. A fairly even card all the way down. 5 years the older is Jared Card. Once again up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout takes place in the XFC featherweight division. Let's meet our fighters. From the blue corner, he's a boxer with a professional record of 8 wins and 3 defeats. Standing 5 feet 6 inches tall, he weighed in 145.4 pounds. Representing Modern Warrior MMA. And tonight, fighting from Rock Hill, South Carolina, please welcome the rock star, Keith Richardson. And his opponent standing across the cage in the red corner. He's a practitioner of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He brings into the cage tonight a professional record, 12 wins, 6 defeats, and 1 draw. Standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, he weighed in 145.4 pounds. Representing R1 MMA and fighting tonight from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, by way of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Please welcome the former XFC featherweight champion of the world, the wild card, Jared Card. And when the action starts inside the cage, our referee, Gary Copeland.
All right, listen up. Folks, receive your instructions from the back. Speak and listen to my commands at all time. Have a clean, fair fight. Any questions? How do you believe? How about you, Red? Let's touch them up and prepare to fight.
Final instructions from our referee, Gary Copeland. We are set for 3 rounds at 145. Richardson comes in 8-3. Jared Card at 12-6-1. Card has lost his last 3 fights in a row.
Round 1, you ready, blue? Round 1, you ready, red? Fight!
Michael Chiavello, Pat Miletich with you from Nashville, Tennessee. Early hands here from Keith Richardson. Nice knee to the midsection from Richardson off the back foot. Turns Card around against the cage now, drives in another knee. Gets that left arm free and back to center cage. Left hook, right cross, and a high left round kick from Richardson.
Richardson switched up to southpaw for some reason.
Left hook there from Card, and there's the right he wants to throw so long as Richardson is in that southpaw stance. 2 knees off the right leg, looking for that lower left rib cage of Card. Some solid combination work early on here from Richardson. There's a high left round, trying to loop that shin around the back of the neck. Nice evasion from Card, but he gets caught with another popping knee off that right leg.
Richardson showing some good strength, putting Card against the cage pretty much the whole time, besides that initial takedown attempt by Card.
Using that right knee well. Card with an opportunity for some elbows, just couldn't execute off the right arm. An active first minute and a half here for Keith Richardson. Card looking like he's setting his right hand, steps across and kicks the back leg instead. Oh, there's a nice right hand with the orbital, then drops down for a single leg, gets the takedown, does Jared Card, goes inside the guard here of Keith Richardson.
Yeah, nice combo and then good transition to that takedown.
See, Card will try and get that left leg out and pass to side control, but at the moment, nowhere to go. A hand wrapped around the head there by Richardson.
Yeah, Richardson, smart move of getting that arm out of there. He needed to get that out. Now he's going for that key lock.
A must-win fight here for Jared Card, former XFC featherweight champion. Now it's Card on his back. Oh, good popping knee there, just under the jaw.
Look if the knee was down at that point.
Jared Card needs to start to get a move on here. He's got an overhook on that left arm.
Needs to be pushing out with that overhook hand on Richardson's hips. Creating some distance so Richardson can't get his hips in and go for the takedowns like that, basically.
It's not that Richardson has done anything supremely effective so far, but he has been the busier of the two.
And I think physically he's a little bit stronger, but Card's shown good technique.
Card just dropping his right hand dangerously, and Richardson, who does have a boxing background, looking to make him pay, gets caught in perhaps a guillotine attempt here.
Card's working for it.
Can Jared Card find a submission with under 90 seconds remaining? No. Richardson is free. But it's good to see Card on the front foot now.
Card's done well when Richardson's been in southpaw. He's landed most of his strikes while Richardson is in southpaw stance. Your defense is completely different when you do that to yourself.
Card, as Richardson now switches back to orthodox stance. So continues to switch stance here in the first round, just in an effort to confuse Jared Card a little. Not really let know what's coming. Card needs to fire that right hand, and he does. Has switched up to southpaw stance than Richardson. Card gives me a little wink here, cage side.
Having a good time, apparently.
And he just breaks off. Wades him with the right hand. Richardson trying to pull the head down for the meet and greet in the Muay Thai clinch.
That was a nasty knee to the midsection.
Don't grab a cage. Don't grab a cage. You're good.
Yeah, he's got to go back for that whizzer. He got his arm wrapped back around Richardson's arm there.
Jared Card on his back in the final seconds. Richardson inside control.
That's it.
And that's how round one ends.
Right in the corner, guys. Right in the corner. They got mics over there. Over that corner, guys.
Card did a good job initially right off the bat. Landing those good shots, getting that single leg run on the pipe, and putting Richardson on his back. Here he is coming up, that knee's down, and there's the knee hitting him in the head. I was wondering about that knee being down. It was down, so technically I guess he could have been penalized on that. This is when you put too much weight on your front leg, stepping forward to throw a punch. Good timing by Card, pump that leg out from underneath him, and then goes right to that front headlock and worked for the choke later on, which he couldn't get.
First round down, set for 3 here between Keith Richardson and Jared Card. Don't forget, folks, if you are on Twitter, do follow us. We are using the hashtag XFC21 tonight. Pat's scorecard after 1 round. Jared Card up 10-9 over Richardson.
Back up, over in your corner.
Close round.
Round 2, you ready, blue? Round 2, you ready, red? Let's fight.
Oh, and he catches him beautifully with the right hand. This is the opportunity now for Jared Card to capitalize. Sinks the guillotine. Has he locked it on here?
Richardson's got to get moving.
Can he finish it? Richardson defending, fighting for survival.
Let go.
And he's asleep. Good night, Irene. Jared Card back in the winner's circle. Finally.
Beautiful job hitting Richardson with that left hook.
relax.
And then attacking him with the choke, man. He smelled blood and went for it.
They are still trying to wake up Richardson here. That was a tight choke from Jared Khan. And he is elated, and well, he should be. As we said, this was the fight of his career. If he didn't win tonight, he would have been relegated to the undercard or worse. But he has powered back, and there was that beautiful opening punch.
Yeah, both of them threw hooks at the same time. Card's landed, and Richardson's didn't. And then right away, Card goes for that choke. You got somebody in trouble, you got to stay on him, and that's what he does here. Obviously would really like this win after 3 losses in a row. Very tough opponent for him coming back, and you got to hand it to him. He performed brilliantly in this fight. Here it is again, he adjusts it. You can see him adjusting here, locking it up so that even when Richardson rolls, it still gets tighter. Puts him to sleep. Referee realizes it. Good job by the referee, Gary Copeland, to stop that. Here it is. Both these guys start out with the hook. Here they go. Throw hooks. That's why you don't throw a hook with your right hand down, guys. Got clipped, got put on his back, and Card going for it right away.
Look how tight that was. Jared Card absolutely elated. Stomping up and down in the cage, unable to control his emotion. And just a fantastic victory. Curbing that 3-fight losing streak he came in with. Christopher James to make it all official.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner at 24 seconds of round number 2 by a guillotine choke, the wild card, Jared Khan!
13-6-1 is now the record of the wild card, Jared Khan. Meanwhile, folks, backstage, we're about to park our peepers as our co-main eventers are getting prepared for their showdown. Ryan Thomas, who brings in a record of 16-7, has the task of taking on the returning Corey Hill. A tremendous natural talent, Corey Hill. Big comeback fight for him here tonight, bringing in that 6-4 record for a man who also stands 6'4".
Still ahead, Eric Reynolds and Nick Newell go to war for the strap. But up next, we get real with Notorious himself before his big night in the spotlight.
I wanted to be a champion, so I kept working hard until I was one.
XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee. This is XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV.
Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee. Night of Champions 2, XFC 21 is alive and happening. Don't forget, folks, if you've got your iPad or your iPhone with you, download our Access TV front companion from the iTunes store. You can go on there now. You can vote for who you think will win all of tonight's fights, including that main event, Notorious Nick Newell versus Eric Reynolds. Vote online, win some fantastic prizes. Go now to the iTunes store. Download the Access TV Fight Companion app. Okay, let's keep our action rolling as we're about to look at the welterweights, Ricky Rainey and Donnie Wallace up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the arena right now, from the blue corner, Ricky Rainey.
Ricky Rainey, the sniper from Charlotte, North Carolina. A former footballer for the Western Carolina University. Had an extensive 8-week training camp in preparation for this one, working on his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his wrestling and his stand-up. What he wants to look out for tonight is not to be overconfident like he was before his last fight. The problem with being overconfident last time is that he didn't wake up till he was in the locker room. courtesy of a knockout to Johnny Buck. You remember that one, Pat? It was quite astounding.
Yeah, he was handing Johnny Buck his rear end and then dropped his hands and taunted him and got clipped and put to sleep.
The prediction that Rainey gave us for tonight's fight is a second round TKO. He says he wants to keep it standing, no judo, no clinching. Wants to take his time and not be too aggressive. All good in theory, Pat, but a man like Ricky Rainey is going to find it hard to take his time.
Yeah, he's an explosive guy, very good striker, a lot of fun to watch, but I think he's going to be a little more serious tonight after his last outing.
And welcome into the arena, Donnie Wallace.
I tell you what, Pat, you talk about a man who is a few fries short of a Happy Meal, a few eggs short of an omelette. You talk about Donnie Wallace. Just talking to this man is an adventure all of its own.
I love this guy.
Donnie Wallace told us yesterday, growing up, his dad was very hard on him. He said his dad called it ninja training. These days they would call it child abuse. He says you were literally scared of the dark until he was 18 years old.
Yeah, Dad taught him some good lessons in life, I think.
Donnie Wallace, who took 2 years away from the sport between 2009 and 2011 to evolve as a martial artist, has still never been the distance, finished every opponent in the first round in each of his wins, and tonight plans to close the distance against Ricky Rainey, to grind him out, to make him tired. You see, Ricky Rainey does have that incredible 7-inch reach advantage. Now, if you saw Donnie Wallace last time out here on XFC, you will know just how exciting he can be and why they call him high intensity.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout takes place in the XFC welterweight division. And tonight, it is being brought to you by our friends at Massis Boxing Belts. If you want to get a belt and they design the XFC championship belt for the night, check them out at massisboxingbelts.com. And now, let's meet the fighters. From the blue corner, he's a striker with a professional record of 4 wins and 1 defeat. Standing 6 feet 1 inch tall. He weighed in yesterday at 171 pounds. Tonight, he's representing Renegade Fighting Systems, and he's fighting from Charlotte, North Carolina. Please welcome the Sniper, Ricky Rainey. And his opponent, standing across the cage in the red corner. He's a practitioner of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Tonight, he brings in the cage a professional record of 5 wins and 3 defeats. Standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 170.6 pounds. Tonight, he's representing high-intensity combat sports from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Please welcome Donnie High Intensity Wallace! And our referee in charge, Gary Copeland.
All right, listen up, fighters. Once you receive your instructions in the bag, expect you to listen to my commands at all time. Have a clean, fair fight. Any questions out of you, Blue? How about you, Red? Let's touch them up, prepare to fight.
Donnie Wallace with an intense stare down there of Ricky Rainey. Rainey does not look too phased. Wallace 5-3, Rainey 4-1.
Round 1, you ready, Blue? Round 1, you
A
ready?
7-inch reach advantage goes the way of Ricky Rainey. Michael Chavello, Pat Miletich with you. Who will get off first here?
Yeah, it's a dangerous fight for Wallace while they're on their feet. I'm sure he's fully aware.
Donnie Wallace has finished all of his opponents in all of his wins in the very first round. Just charged forward wildly there, left his head open and was lucky that Rainey didn't collect him with a knee. Loads up on that outside thigh kick to no avail. Single shots will not do the trick against Ricky Rainey.
Wallace has got to keep his back off the cage against this guy. If you can't move to get away from him, you're in deep trouble.
And look how Rainey leads with that left hand. It's his rangefinder, his measuring stick. And he'll set for that right hand down the tube here. Wallace looks to get on the inside. Ooh, nice little popping knee off the right there from Ricky Rainey. Overhook on the right arm of Wallace.
Wallace is having some serious trouble with the length and strength of Rainey.
Wallace looking for a takedown, couldn't get it, backs off and circles counterclockwise. There's that charge from Rainey. Wallace has got to get inside that lead hand and he gets caught. Here comes Ricky Rainey. Wallace in a whole lot of bother now and it's over. Ricky Rainey finishes Donnie Wallace inside of the first round.
Dangerous guy standing up now.
Donnie Wallace just stood in no man's land. When you've got a man of a 7-inch reach advantage over you, Pat, you've either got to be completely inside or completely outside.
Yeah, like we said, you don't want to be hanging out on the cage, and that's where Wallace ended up there. Got to be able to move to get away from this guy.
You see, the right hand, it was always going to be the finishing weapon of Ricky Rainey. He measures it, and he measured Donnie Wallace superbly.
Rainey's a very, very big 170-pounder.
And agile. Devastation for Donnie Wallace. He's now 2-2 in XFC. Well, Ricky Rainey predicted a second round at TKO. Came around earlier for him. Don't forget, folks, once again, if you're on Twitter, do use the hashtag XFC21 tonight. Also at XSTV Fights. While you're there, at Pat Miletich, at Chevello Voice. Christopher James about to make this all official, a first-round TKO to Ricky Rainey.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner at 1 minute and 42 seconds of the very first round by a TKO due to a knee strike. Make some noise for the sniper, Ricky Rainey!
5-1, the only loss last time out to Buck Nasty. Certainly wasn't overconfident tonight. He timed the strike well. When he saw the opportunity to finish, the man they call the sniper did just that. Folks, if you've been voting on our Access TV Fights iPad app, who will win our main event tonight? 54% of you at the moment think Notorious Nick Newell will win the championship. 46% say Eric Reynolds. We will be updating you throughout the night with that voting. If you haven't voted yet, make sure you do it now on the Access TV Fights companion. Download it from the iTunes store. Well, perhaps no fighter lives one day at a time, quite like Notorious Nick Newell, but this day a world championship is in the mix. We caught up with him before his big night in Music City. 1 year ago, wheels were set in motion. Whispers and rumblings began, and a human highlight reel was born. Oh, Gorito here. Have a look at this from Nick Newell. It is over. Good night, Irene. A standing freaking ovation. Born with congenital amputation of the left forearm, one would think Nick Newell's journey to the cage wouldn't begin like most, but in fact, it has.
Soccer and baseball were my sports growing up, and I was actually a better baseball player than I was a soccer player. I made the all-star team a bunch of times, and then when I went to high school, I was kind of tired of all those because I played them my whole life, and I started doing wrestling and really fell in love with it. My freshman year, I walked into the wrestling mat. I was 2-22. I think I got pinned 17 times. Most people would have quit in my situation, but it bothered me. I've never been the guy that shows up and they're like, wow, this guy's great at that. Like, you're gonna be a champ someday. You know, I've always been that guy that comes in and maybe isn't really that great at it, but sticks around. I wanted to be a champion. So I kept working hard until I was one.
And here's what Newell does best. Newell fighting. Nick Newell survived the toughest fight of his career. Here comes Newell. Make me somewhere. Nick Newell with the big kibble. He's done it again. Since arriving on the professional fight scene, notorious Nick Newell has been notorious for one thing: winning.
I'm a fighter. I didn't come here to run from anyone. I came here to fight tough guys. And I think I proved that I can hang with them tonight.
But in spite of his success, some in the mixed martial arts community still criticize his legitimacy.
With someone like me, people think it's easier for me to get accepted, or like, oh, you're good at this because you only have one hand, or this or that, but it's actually harder. I could beat all the best fighters in the world, and then if I lose one, it's like, oh, I told you this guy should have never fought, you know? That's why I don't listen to people. I've proven that I can hang with nasty fighters and beat them.
As Newell heads to the cage for the 9th time in his bright career, the mantra that began in those formative years still rings true.
When you're Nick Newell, you really don't know what's coming next. I just talk in the third person. You know, I live every day, you know, I try to live every day, and you never know what's next. What's next is Eric Reynolds. What's next is the XFC championship, and after I win that, I'll go from there.
I'm notorious Nick Newell, and I'm gonna fight tonight. I just want to say hi to my cats. Gober and Stripey, I love you so much and I miss you, and I'm gonna win this belt and bring it back home for you.
Coming up, we head to the Sunshine State to catch up with Eric It's a Rap Reynolds.
It's very hard to get to this position to be a champion, and it's going to be even harder to keep it.
XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV. We'll be back in a flash.
Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee. Music City is alive and a happening Night of Champions number 2. Where if you just joined us, you missed seeing Ricky Rainey return to the winner's circle with a vicious first-round TKO over high-intensity Donnie Wallace. Once again, let's throw it up to Christopher James to keep our action rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the arena, Marcus Finch.
The imposing sight of Marcus Finch, a man who has only been finished once in 13 career fights. He grew up in the countryside where baling hay, chopping wood, digging holes, drawing water and planting crops were among his daily chores. Sounds a little like your childhood, Pat.
Farm boy.
A man who is obsessed with fighting. He told us, I'm a kind of like a mad scientist. When I'm not training, I'm thinking about it. I'm watching UFC Unleashed. I'm watching stuff on the internet. You'd probably think that I'm crazy. I even watch fights when I'm at work. I eat, breathe, and sleep this. Oh, can he get back-to-back wins here tonight? He's been a little inconsistent of late, but 2 on the trot will be nice here for Marcus Finch, who says he wants to KO Dustin Westpac.
Well, I think these guys are both going to come out and throw heavy leather. They both have bad intentions with their punches, and they live and die by the sword. You know, what's cool about Finch also is he has a recording studio and loves music.
He does indeed. He writes R&B, rap and soft rock at a studio at his own house. A multi-talented man.
Please welcome into the arena, Dustin West.
Listen to that ovation. Listen to that ovation. Nashville's own Dustin West. A massive 7-week training camp. He says Paddy's only got 2 more fights left in his career and he wants to go out swinging.
Guns a-blazing.
The mercury level here in Nashville just went up several degrees. This crowd suddenly became a frenzy at the appearance of Dustin West, a man who is undefeated 10-0 as an amateur, who has 5 of his 6 wins by first round knockout. A former Marine who spent 6 years in the Corps, including a tour of Iraq. And the Marines have joined him here tonight. The towel tape between Finch and West. Marcus Finch, 3 years the younger, both stand 6 foot even. Weight goes the way of Finch and also 1 inch Finch in reach. This one should be an absolute cracker once again up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout takes place in the XFC light heavyweight division. Let's meet the fighters. From the blue corner, he's a mixed martial artist, bringing in a record of 6 wins, 6 defeats, and 1 draw. Standing 6 feet tall, he weighed in 203.6 pounds. Tonight, he fights from Cincinnati, Ohio. Please welcome Marcus Finch. And his opponent standing across the cage in the red corner, he's a wrestler. Professional record, 6 wins and 5 defeats. Standing 6 feet tall, he weighed in 194.6 pounds. Tonight, he represents Nashville MMA. And he fights from his hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. Please welcome Dustin West. And our referee in charge, Nate Jolly.
All right, gentlemen, you built the CJ instruction in the dressing room. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Do I have any questions from blue? Do I have any questions from red? If we're going to touch them up now.
Former XFC fighter Nate the Great Jolly, our center referee at 205 pounds. Marcus Finch versus Dustin West. West brings in a record of 6-5. Finch is 6-6-1.
Ready?
A lively crowd for this one. They are behind Dustin West. Finch in a southpaw stance here. West wants to throw that right hand, and he does off the barrel. Gets countered with a right hand jab, though, from Finch.
Yeah, got stung on that one, wobbled him.
West needs to keep that chin tucked. Good look at the footwork there. And a nice use of the right hand down the center from West.
Finch looking to land that counter right. That right hook hits hard, man.
Momentarily stumbled. West goes down from the left and Nate Jolly moves in. Well, that was short-lived. He cracked him with that hook. And Nate Jolly, referee, dove in there to stave Dustin West from further punishment. Was that a good call, Pat, from Nate Jolly?
You know, I think he was a little bit premature. Obviously, West was hurt, but it was maybe slightly premature. Here it is, that big right hook lands. I tell you what, these kids got, and the headbutt there is what dropped him. They smacked heads and went in for the finish. Dustin West confusing whose legs whose. Here it is again. Headbutt, dropped him with that.
So, Pat, technically then, should that be a win for Marcus Finch if he knocked down and the stoppage came following the headbutt?
Well, had the referee stopped the action due to the headbutt, it might have been a no contest if he couldn't continue.
Let's take a look at it again here, Pat. Was it indeed a headbutt that finished this contest? Referee dove in after this.
Yeah. Big one on the cheek and the jaw area. What's that?
The left hand didn't connect.
No, but the right hook before that hit West and rocked the hell out of it. And then he missed with his punch and came in with all his weight. Here it is. Misses, and then he goes to throw the left, and they smack heads. Obviously, the top of your head's not going to get hurt by crushing the guy's cheekbone and jaw with it.
Pat, what would be your call on this?
Well, to be honest with you, the referee probably didn't see it happen so fast. But like I say, had he stopped it due to the headbutt, and West couldn't continue, then it would have been a no contest probably.
Well, this will be interesting. Up to Christopher James. I'm pretty sure it'll be a TKO here, but it should be a no contest.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner at 46 seconds of the very first round by a knockout, Marcus Finch!
I know the referee hasn't been privy to the replays here, but certainly some controversy abounding because Marcus Finch knocked down Dustin West, but it wasn't with his fists or his legs or his elbows or his knees, it was with his head. Take a look at this again, folks. Clear headbutt. This is the first hook that wobbles him, but the referee stays off. Now here comes the headbutt.
Yeah, right there. And West's cheekbone and jaw are both swollen up from that headbutt. So obviously they collided very hard.
Well, folks, over the course of Eric Reynolds' career, he's done a lot. We'll talk about him in a moment. But first of all, on Monday night, you can recap all the action on Inside MMA, the only program you should be watching every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Join Al Wabor, Kenny Rice and Rovan Ronnie Kruk for the finest mixed martial arts program on television. Inside MMA live every Monday night. Let's park our peepers backstage once again where our main eventers are warming up. Notorious Nick Newell, 8-0. Does the Cinderella story indeed have a fairy tale ending tonight for Notorious Nick Newell as he gets set to take on this man, Eric Reynolds? Over the course of Eric Reynolds' career, we've chronicled his inner-city training to a T. But what fans don't know is that a few times a week, it's a wrap, heads east to the country. Since joining the ranks of the XFC, no fighter has been quite as dominant as Eric "It's a Wrap" Reynolds. Case in point, this past September. This is the finish! It is good night, Irene! Eric Reynolds will fight Nick Newell December 7th for the title in Nashville.
I was smiling for a reason. I love this. This is what I do, and I love it.
It was a catch weight of 160. When we entered the cage, he probably had 25 pounds on me, and it showed he was a bigger opponent. But just because you're the bigger opponent doesn't mean you're the better opponent. I kept moving forward and did what I needed to do to win, and I surprised everybody by choking him out in the second round. I already had the title fight in the works, so I put that on the line by taking the fight against Borgomeo. So I was taking an unnecessary risk doing what I love to do. I just wanted to make a statement. This is what a champion is, and you're looking at it.
Usually we try to refrain from blatantly cheesy Rocky references, but in the case of Eric Reynolds, it would seem irresponsible. And although it isn't close to a frozen USSR, Reynolds, like the Italian stallion of the fourth movie, takes time to escape the distractions of the real world to get back to basics.
When I want to get away from the inner city training, because I get really good training at the dungeon boxing, that Rocky style, we just do it. We don't need all that distraction. We can really focus on what we need to focus on. I get to go running for miles and not see one car. I might see 2 or 3 deer. It just clears my head. I don't have to think about all the drama of everyday life, and I can really just blossom as the fighter that I'm becoming, and I'm getting to the top of my game, and the sky's the limit.
As he makes his way to the cage tonight for the much anticipated lightweight title bout, Reynolds looks to continue his winning ways and make a rap as a world champion.
It's very hard to get to this position to be a champion, and it's going to be even harder to keep it. When I win my belt, I'm not going to take much time off, and I'm going to get right back in the gym, and I'm going to improve even more to keep the belt. I've worked hard to get where I'm at, so you're going to have to kill me to take it.
Up next, it's time for the ladies to take the stage. Stephanie Egging and Heather Clark go head-to-head. XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Night of Champions 2, XFC in Nashville, Tennessee. Michael Chiavello, Pat Miletich with you. What a night we've been having. It's time now to bring out the ladies in the strawweight division, Stephanie Egging and Heather Clark. Once again up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the arena, Stephanie Egging.
Former member of the U.S. national boxing team who represented the U.S. in boxing at the 2007 Pan Am Games in Brazil, Stephanie Egging. The game plan here tonight against Heather Clark is to pick Clark apart, control the pace and keep it tactical. Egging is an outside fighter, loves the stand-up, a strategist. She'll look to be methodical and systematically pick Heather apart with her strikes tonight, Pat.
Yeah, she doesn't want a reckless fight with Heather Jo Clark. She feels that's really Heather's only way of beating her. I think we're about to find out. But this girl can box very well, and she's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so she's legit on the ground.
Egging, who had an extensive 10-week camp in which she focused on her defensive wrestling. She said of Heather Clark, Heather's not overly aggressive, and it should be a chess match. Egging, who attends school to be a firefighter in her spare time, likes to colour in colouring books. Never go outside the lines.
And welcome into the arena from the red corner, Heather Clark.
The familiar face of the Hurricane Heather Clark. Played hockey professionally for the National Women's Hockey League in Canada. Graduated from Cal State Northridge with a degree in theatre. She says that Egging's weakness is that her hands come down. She stands tall, she telegraphs her kicks, and she's cut a lot of weight, and because of that, Heather Clark expects Egging to gas out quickly tonight.
And I think that Heather Clark might be physically a little bit stronger than Egging, and might look for a takedown here. I think that Clark feels her ground game is stronger.
Coming off that win over the Eskimo Avery Vilche last time out. Before that, the only loss in her career so far was a TKO due to an eye injury against Mariana Capens. The tail of the tape in this strawweight contest between Egging and Clark. Experience goes the way of Heather Jo Clark. She is also 7 years the older, 2 inches the shorter, and gives away 2 inches in reach. Our experts fight cage. Striking goes the way, well, you would have thought Eggink, but even on this contest, Eggink builds pure boxing, but Heather Jo Clark also brings in the knees and the kicks very well, which is why it's even. Ground game even, speed even, strength goes to Heather Jo Clark, endurance is even. And once again, let's throw it up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our feature bout of the night, and it takes place in the XFC strawweight division. This bout is being brought to you tonight by the next XFC Open Fighter Tryout, March 9th at Flow MMA in Palatine, Illinois. If you think you got what it takes to be the next big thing in the XFC, go to officialxfc.com for all the details for the next XFC Open Fighter Tryout. And now, let's meet the fighters in our feature bout of the night. From the blue corner, she's a tactical fighter with a record of 1-1, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in 114.8 pounds. Tonight, she's representing Next Edge Academy Martial Arts and Gracie Tampa. From Sioux Falls, South Dakota, please welcome Stephanie, the Snowflake Egging. And her opponent, standing across the cage in the red corner, she's a striker and a finisher with a professional record of 5 wins and 2 defeats, standing 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighing in 114.8 pounds. Tonight, she represents Jackson's MMA and fights from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Please welcome the Hurricane, Heather Clark. Our referee in charge, Nate Jolly.
All right, ladies, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Do I have any questions from blue? Do I have any questions from red?
It should be a stand-up contest. Let's see how Heather Clark deals with the hands of Stephanie Eggink. Our referee for this one, once again, Nate Jolly. Eggink flicking out the jab here. But her hands are low, and Heather Jo Clark has scored first-round knockouts, and quick ones.
Landed a couple nice rights there.
Eggink moving a lot here. Clark looking to maybe set her right hand. There's the overhand right, doubles up on it. And still Eggink is not bringing that left hand up to her jaw. She's keeping it down around her waist. It could spell disaster for her. Already a lot of reddening around the left eye here of Stephanie Eggink. And Eggink gets off a left.
That's how you take care of a tactical fighter, is you turn it into a brawl, and that's what she's doing right now.
And Heather Clark catches her again with that right hand. There has to be a point, though, Pat, where you realize you've got to bring that lead hand up to protect your orbital, protect your temple.
Right, she's already got some nice lumps up the left side of her head. Obviously has a pretty good chin because she took some heady shots.
And it's a chin she's not tucking, and it could be pulled down with this clinch. And she walks. Heather Clark back against the cage now.
Eggink could have got the takedown there. She decided not to. She wants to stand up.
There are about 3 hematomas over that left eye already here on Stephanie Eggink. I'm actually counting 4 of them, Pat.
You know, Eggink's got a lot of hip strength and power here. You can see she's got a really narrow waist, but her quads and her hips are thick, so she's got a lot of driving power. Double under here. Looks like she's going to look for the trip.
And Clark trying to lock an 8. Tie clinch now. Controlling that right wrist, and Clark gets it 3. Throws a knee to the groin. A little higher, nicely done to the lower breadbasket.
Heather Jo Clark needs to get her arms lower, down around the hips. Pull those hips in tight to her if she wants that takedown.
Glancing left hand there from Stephanie Egging. 2 minutes 20 remaining, first round set for 3. Let's see if Clark can get some distance to work that right hand again, and now she has the opportunity. Sticks the jab in the face of Egging. Fakes the right. Egging throwing a 3-2, being the left hook right cross combination.
Heather Jo Clark needs to be really careful when she counters. She lifts and stands up and lifts her chin at the same time when she counters. She's going to get clipped.
Still see how low the hands are, and she gets collected again with the right hand, does Egging. The hand is low, the lead hand, the chin is propped up in the air. It's not the ideal stance here for Stephanie Egging. Almost offering her chin now. I don't believe that Heather Clark will be suckered in here. Egging just clips her with the edge of the knuckles on that left hook. Over under now. Backed up against the cages, Heather Jo Clark. They tango back towards center cage now. Looking for a takedown is Egging.
That was really sloppy. A step, wow, leaped right into that.
Close guard of Stephanie Egging with 60 seconds remaining in the first round.
Egging went for a flying triangle on that one and missed it just barely.
Egging throws the legs up now. Can she secure a submission? Trying to take that arm home. Has Egging got her? Is this it? No, Heather Jo Clark free.
Nice escape. She's got to keep driving to her left. Drive that left shoulder through that leg.
Egging wants to find the submission. She tries to extend that arm again. Heather Jo Clark is battling here.
It's amazing she got back to that arm bar. Heather Jo Clark needs to throw that right leg all the way over. Keep going the direction she was going.
And it looks like Heather Jo Clark will survive the first round. Will survive this submission attempt from Stephanie Egging. What a contest. Fantastic opening round.
Nice right hands there. Doing a great job of landing those, did Clark. Turning it into a brawl as much as possible. That's how you take care of a technical fighter. Make it sloppy, make it ugly. Here they are exchanging. Clark getting clipped with the right hand. Didn't seem to bother her at all, though. Needs to keep those hands up a little bit, keep that chin down. Here's that armbar by Egging. Really going for it. She's got a good ground game. Very slick. Nice transition from the triangle into the armbar. And she left her arm in there. Egging's holding on to that hand still and just kept working for it. A lot of determination by both girls.
At scorecard after 1, 10-9 to Stephanie Egging. How are you scoring it, folks? Wherever you're watching live on XFC, your home for MMA. 8 jolly to get us underway in the second highly competitive first round. A back and forth contest. Egging on the ground, and early on it was the overhand rights of Heather Jo Clark doing the damage. And she's going for that right hand again is Clark. Got to be careful of that awkward lead hand of Egging.
Yeah, it's easy to flick that lead hand out there when you stay relaxed like that. Yes, defensively it can be a downfall, but it comes from outside your vision a lot of times when people are good at throwing that.
Just flicking that jab out there. Clark, trip takedown, nicely done.
Nice job. She got that takedown because she transitioned so quickly from the clinch right to the trip.
Close guard here of Stephanie Egging. Let's see what Clark can do. The ground game in the first was in Egging's favor.
Heather Jo Clark needs to figure out a way to posture up in this because she does not want to have her posture bad against this girl.
Heather Jo Clark has to be careful not to leave that arm in.
Trying to slide that knee through past the guard here.
Egging throws those legs up dangerously again, trying to set for a triangle.
With Heather Jo Clark's knee in there.
And she does. The triangle is there, and time is on her side now. Can Stephanie Egging finish here on the second round? Can she find the finish here?
Heather Jo Clark, good job of wrapping her legs around Egging's head. That was nice, that was slick.
And Heather Jo Clark out of trouble. Now Heather Jo Clark in top position, inside of half guard. Get that leg out. No, will she take the back here of Egging? That leg's still in, that left leg. Heather Jo Clark is going to try and find a submission of her own now.
Nice transition with that leg inside there. She needs to snake it back out, though.
You see Egging just locking up that right wrist.
Clark getting her hips up. I was waiting for her to do that. She needed to do that.
Tremendous battle here between these two athletes.
Egging's being smart here. She knows she could get in trouble real easy if she doesn't keep that wrist control.
Will Egging invite her up here? Or will she sling the legs a little? Maybe try and pass.
Little leg lock action maybe here.
Egging measures her with the right hand. Heather Jo with an up kick. 1 foot on hips. Now hooks it through.
Good guard work by Heather Jo Clark. A lot of footwork there. Look at how she's pushing with one, hooking, and got him crossed over with that X.
Takes the back and hammers away now. Submission attempt again from Egging. But no, Heather Jo Clark free once more. Under a minute remaining here in the second round.
Egging trying to come up to the mount. Both girls fighting with their hips.
Takes the back again, does Egging. Heather Jo Clark forced to cover up here. Egging will try and sink her, choke.
Doing a good job of riding. Staying glued to her. Spreading her out now. Bad place to be.
10 seconds remains in this round. It does not look like Egging will get that submission. She's going to try and pound out Heather Jo Clark. But this is how the round will end. 2 fantastic rounds of action in what has been a very topsy-turvy week for women's mixed martial arts, where apparently Pat One can become a champion of an organization without having to even fight it.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Amazing.
Great job. Let's keep it standing. You can take her down all day long, and you can. Now, it's a little well work, but I want to keep it standing here with that feet.
Egging here doing a good job on the ground. Both Heather Jo Clark and her. It was a good tactical battle there. But Egging finally got the upper hand toward the end of the round, took her back. And there was a nice balance here where she knew to administer a lot of punishment, soften her up, go for a choke periodically in there. But the main thing was doing damage, and that was smart of her to do.
John Prisco, who has put on some fantastic female fights on XFC. We've seen the likes of Mariana Capers, Felice Herrig, Carla Esparza. Here we see Heather Jo Clark once again, Stephanie Egging. All good things for 2013. As we get set for the third and final round.
Ready?
Very close contest here. Let's see if Heather Jo Clark can get that right hand happening again. Gives to the body. Scooping left hand of Egging. Heather Jo Clark needs to pull the trigger again on that overhand right. It worked successfully for her in the first 2 minutes of the fight.
Good feints and fakes by Egging. That boxing is paying off right now.
The angles, she brings that jab in. Just keeping Heather Jo at the end of her reach. Heather Jo's got to find a way to cut off the cage here and muscle onto the inside of Egging. She throws that overhand right, and there's a round kick to the rib cage. But Egging looks relaxed. She continues to move, use a lot of the cage here. Little popping liver kick there from Heather Jo, and there's a nice glancing right hand.
That's what she needs to do, throw at the exact same time Egging lets that go. Sometimes she's waiting a bit too long and Egging's gone by the time she throws it.
Duck that chin, look through the brow, and load up that overhand right. She could set it up by faking off the left, cause Egging to drift into that right hand pat, then throw it.
Right.
You have to like the fluency of Egging.
Yeah, and I think she knows she's probably ahead on the cards right now, so she's playing that game, throwing the jabs, landing what she needs to, and scooting away.
Clinched up as she walks Heather Jo Clark against the cage.
Heather doing a good job blocking those hips. That's what she needs to do, push out on those hips there.
Almost halfway through this third and final round. Outside leg kick, just that common peroneal nerve just above the knee there on Heather Jo Clark. Not a lot of starch behind those kicks though. Double jab was nice, and there's a good lump under the right eye now of Heather Jo Clark, courtesy of that jabbing left hand of Egging. And you see Heather Jo Clark just allowing Egging to dance around the outside of the cage here. Heather Jo's in center cage, but not showing any dominance at the moment. And meanwhile, look at Egging just flicking a jab, sitting behind it, eats a right hand then. Immediately they clinch up. But this movement is certainly frustrating Heather Jo Clark.
Yeah, like you were saying, Heather's got to cut her off, put her against a cage like this. Throw a lot of elbows, nasty little inside stuff, dirty boxing, stuff that, you know, maybe Egging's not quite fond of, to say the least, with her amateur boxing background.
Overhook on the left arm here from Egging.
Good job being heavy on the head.
Single leg here from Heather Jo Clark. Gives up on that now. Little short elbow. A lot of damage around that right eye now of Heather Jo Clark, and she's pouring at it. Egging timed it nicely with that lead hook. This is Egging really starting to open up, score freely.
It's a beautiful thing about having that relaxed lead arm. You can throw uppercuts, hooks, jabs, anything you want from the position it's in. See how she moves it back and forth so it can leave from any position.
With 40 seconds on the clock here, time is now against Heather Jo Clark. She's got to find a way on the inside. She's got to find a way to cut off the cage and land that overhand right on Egging. The Look at Egging. Drifting clockwise, sitting behind that left hand, hooking it and jabbing off it. Double leg here, but Egging sprawls out and lands the hammer fist strikes to the side of the head. Still Heather Jo Clark trying to get Egging on her back, but to no avail.
Good hips by Egging to get out of that, because Heather, she got in pretty deep and had her hands locked.
Is there a Hail Mary shot here for Heather Jo Clark? There it was. And that is all. A fantastic contest here between two stellar fighters. But you feel that Stephanie Egging may get the nod here.
I think she won the last round, obviously, moved very nicely, knew she was up on the cards, played the points game, fought a smart fight.
And receiving a lot of appreciation from the crowd. Look at the hematomas under the eye there. Two on the forehead, two under the eye. They'll get the cold swell onto that. The end swell.
Egging doing a beautiful job. As I said, you can throw the jab, the hooks, the uppercuts with that lead arm. No matter where it's at, you can just move it back and forth and throw it. Good hips here, stuffing that takedown. Heather Jo Clark had the hands locked. Couldn't get the takedown. Heavy on the head here. Smart with the knees to the midsection. Good job of just using the clock, making her opponent carry her weight. All around, very smart fight by Egging. And Heather Jo Clark's a very tough girl, so she beat a quality opponent tonight.
Who will it be? Heather Jo Clark or Stephanie Egging? Good sportsmanship there. Once again, folks, don't forget you can vote online for who you think will win our main event between Nick Newell and Eric Reynolds for the 155-pound title. At the moment, the voting still has the notorious Nick Newell ahead. 55% of you say Newell will win. 45% of you say Eric Reynolds. If you're on Twitter, you can also voice your opinion there. We are using the hashtag XFC21. Still to come here tonight, Corey Hill takes on Ryan Thomas in our co-main event. And then that big one, notorious Nick Newell takes on Eric Reynolds for the 155-pound title. Heather Jo Clark got off her right hand early in the first round, was doing damage, but couldn't get it off in the second or third. And we throw it up once again to Christopher James for the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's hear for these ladies inside the cage. What a fight! And now, after 3 rounds of incredible action, we go to our judges' scorecards. Judge Madden scores at 29-28. Judge Argerbright scores at 30-27. And Judge Hudson scores at 30-27. For your winner, by a unanimous decision, Stephanie, the Snowflake Egging!
Stephanie Egging takes it, improves her record to 2-1, and Pat now has the Snowflake.
All right, I'm here with Stephanie Egging. Stephanie, started out the round, you got clipped with a few right hands there, and but you seem to get in your rhythm pretty quickly.
It always takes me a couple punches in the face to realize where I'm at, and it works, so.
Now, I really like the low left hand. I mean, a lot of people say, you know, keep your hands up, this and that, but it obviously enables you, from your boxing experience, to be able to throw the uppercuts, the hooks, or the jabs with that lead hand from any position. Is that something you really like to do?
Well, all of my coaches have tried to get me to bring it up, but it just falls back down. It's my boxing background. I want to be like Roy Jones. So.
All right, so an impressive win tonight over Clark. What would you like to do next in the sport? Are there any girls out there in your weight division that you'd like to dismantle?
Felice Herrig. I want Felice Herrig on your next card.
All right, Felice, you heard it. Stephanie Egging, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, what a striking contest that could be. Stephanie Egging calling out Felice Herrig for XFC in 2013. Folks, our year is not done yet here on Access Fights, because next week we're back in Dallas, Texas. Join us 10 p.m. Eastern next Friday night from Dallas Legacy Fighting Championships. Another stacked card brought to you by Mick Maynard and all the team. 10 p.m. Eastern next Friday night, Legacy Fighting Championships from Dallas, Texas.
Coming up, it's our co-main event.
And that's what he can do. Yeah. Corey Hill gets a first round submission over Charlie Raider. Oh, yes! He locks up moisture, seals in freshness.
Ryan Thomas and Corey Hill head to the cage. XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on Access TV. Live from Nashville, Tennessee.
Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee, XFC 21 from the Nashville Municipal Auditorium, where you've just seen Stephanie Egging in the fight of the night so far, a decision win over the tough Heather Jo Clark. It is time for our co-main event. Once again, let's throw it up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the arena from the blue corner, Ryan Thomas.
The tank engine, Ryan Thomas, has finished his opponent in all of his 14 wins. 5 of those wins by triangle choke. He says if he gets Corey Hill to ground tonight, he'll try and finish him with a Darce choke. Easier said than done, Pat, against the man the caliber of Corey Hill. Let's take a look at some highlights here of Ryan Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas is Ryan's a well-rounded kid. He's a good striker, but he's definitely slick on the ground. Strong guy, wrestled in Eastern Illinois, in Southern Illinois, where Matt Hughes graduated from, by the way. But you can see an inverted triangle here, which is not easy to hit on people. So you know this guy's a high-level grappler, wrestler, very dangerous on the ground.
That Ryan Thomas is the toughest opponent he has faced yet. It's good to see Corey Hill back in action. Mostly remembered, of course, due to that infamous broken leg he suffered against Dale Hart at UFC Fight for the Troops. The initial diagnosis was that he would be out for more than 2.5 years after suffering that injury. A 2-time All-American wrestler at Colby Community College in Colby, Kansas, wrestling alongside Daniel Cormier on their national championship team in 1999.
Yes, and Corey was a national champion. This guy's legit. I've wrestled with him before. Trust me, he's explosive, and Ryan Thomas is going to have a tough time taking this kid down. And if he gets in there, he's going to have to work for it. But Corey's got dangerous strikes and good takedowns. I think Corey's probably going to choose to keep this fight standing. But that Darce choke with those long arms of his is dangerous for anybody, trust me.
A tale of the tape. Experience goes the way of Ryan Thomas. He is 6 years the younger, 4 inches the shorter. And the reach goes the way of Corey Hill. 79 versus 75.5. Our experts fight gate for our co-main event. Striking, Corey Hill. Ground game, Ryan Thomas. Speed is Corey Hill's, strength is even, endurance goes the way of Ryan Thomas. We're all set in the welterweight division. Ryan Thomas versus Corey Hill. Let's go up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our co-main event of the evening. Tonight, it's being brought to you by IC Real Time, the official security camera of the XFC. For all your security camera needs, it's the letter I, the letter C, realtime.com. And now, let's meet our fighters. This bout will be in the welterweight division, 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing to you first from the blue corner, he's a wrestler with a professional record, 16 wins and 7 defeats. Standing 6 feet tall, he weighed in 170.2 pounds. Tonight, he represents American Top Team, and he fights from Coconut Creek, Florida. Please welcome Ryan, the Tank Engine, Thomas. And his opponent standing across the cage in the red corner. He's a wrestler, standing 6 feet, 4 inches tall. He brings into the cage a professional record of 6 wins and 4 defeats. Weighing 168.8 pounds, representing KO Revolution and TCH MMA. Tonight, he fights from Brooksville and Spring Hill, Florida. Please welcome Corey Hill. And our referee in charge, Gary Copeland.
All right, listen up, fighters. Receive your instructions in the back. Expect you to listen to my commands at all times. Have a clean, fair fight. Any questions out of you, Blue? How about you, Red? Let's touch them up, prepare to fight. Red over there.
Gary Copeland with his final instructions. The favourite for this one, according to Nick Kalikas, betonfighting.com, is Corey Hill. He's minus 210. Brian Thomas comes in at plus 160. We are set for 3 rounds of action at 170. Michael Chevello, Pat Miletich with you, the towering Corey Hill. Outside leg kick from Thomas. Nicely placed. Corey Hill in southpaw stance. Looks for a takedown, gets it. Beautiful work from Corey Hill.
Corey's got to stay tight here on cross sides. Stay out of that guard from Thomas. Thomas, nice job popping up, getting that underhook and coming back up.
Explosive wrestling prowess that Pat spoke about of Corey Hill. Brian Thomas back to his feet now.
This is where Thomas needs to be, up against the cage with Hill. But not with his back against it.
Double underhooks here for Corey Hill. He drives those corky knees to the outside thigh of Ryan Thomas. Thomas puts on a knee guard.
It's where Corey needs to get that heavy on the head, get that underhook high, and start working those knees.
Trying to pull the head down. Hooks the leg, scoops it out, nicely done inside the guard here of Ryan Thomas.
Got to be careful here, he's going to get himself in trouble.
This is where Thomas is dangerous. Don't forget, he does hold 5 wins by triangle choke.
Yeah, Corey's got to be careful here, feeding him arms. Get yourself in trouble real fast with this guy.
The legs go up. Looking to lock up that left arm of Corey Hill. Legs go up again here from Ryan Thomas, but Corey Hill sits inside the guard.
Getting the angle for that armbar, and Corey saw it coming, getting that arm out. He's doing a good job of getting stuff out of the way in time.
Watch the head, Corey. Don't come in with that head. No head.
Fred Gary Copeland just warning Corey Hill not to come in with that head. Watch the headbutts. Plenty of work from his guard here by Ryan Thomas. Very active hips.
He's working the angle again, trying to look for that arm. Corey doing a good job pulling him right back to where he wants it. It's a triangle.
Trying to pull the head down there.
Don't grab that cage. Don't grab that cage.
Oh, sits him on the back of his head, does Corey Hill.
Now he's going to watch his arm. Yep.
That arm left in.
That's it.
And that is all Ryan Thomas needed. First round submission, Brian Thomas over Corey Hill. It was always going to be the danger pack.
Yeah, and those long limbs of Corey Hill, that's the one thing, you know, and I was actually surprised that he went out and took Thomas down in this fight. I thought he was going to keep it standing and use those long arms to box with. It is Corey Hill. It's one thing you got to be careful of. When you drop him, you better make him pay a price. Thomas doing a good job of hooking the leg so that Hill couldn't hoist him up higher and hurt him. And then the nice transition to the arm bar. Cannot leave those limbs hanging out with a good jiu-jitsu practitioner like Thomas is. Here he is. He's riding out the storm here. Stays after the arm. Gets that leg. Look at him pushing on the cage with his foot to get the angle and get the leg across the face of Corey Hill and finish.
Just devastating there for Corey Hill. And the tank engine Ryan Thomas shows off that succulent ground game yet again. An end swell applied under the right eye there of Corey Hill. Hill goes 6-5, Ryan Thomas goes 17-7. It looks like Christopher James is about to enter this one into the history books.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner at 2 minutes and 34 seconds of round number 1 by a tap out due to an arm bar, Ryan the Tank Engine Thomas.
All right, I'm here with Ryan Thomas. Ryan, were you surprised that Corey came out and took you down in this fight?
Yeah, I thought he was going to strike with me. I thought I was going to have to utilize leg kicks, but he's an awesome wrestler. He took me down. I just had to roll with it. You know, I'm good off my back. I'm comfortable anywhere, so it works out good.
Right, with those long limbs of his, were you expecting to hopefully get this thing to the ground and secure some sort of submission like you did?
I wanted to strike with it, but I knew if it went to the ground, I'd be all right. Triangle's my signature move, but you give me an arm bar and those long arms, I want to take it.
Right, now when he hoisted you up, when you had him in the triangle there, explain to the fans at home and the people in the building what you did with your other arm to keep yourself from getting hoisted up too high.
Yeah, he was going to slam me on my head and that was going to hurt, so I had to hook the leg to keep him from picking me up, to powerbomb me like Rampage Jackson did in old Pride days. But I was hoping to get a sweep out of it. I just didn't get slammed, and I was happy with that.
Yep, smart move on your part and a great fight. Ryan Thomas, ladies and gentlemen.
That means, folks, we only have one more fight remaining, the big one we've all been waiting for. Nick Newell versus Eric Reynolds for the 155-pound title. And here is the voting as it stands from you. 55% say Newell for the victory, 45% say Eric Reynolds for the victory. How will it go down in our main event tonight?
Up next, the lightweight championship bout is here.
I'm not calling out Nick Newell. I want the belt. He's the guy standing in my way.
We both figured it would happen eventually. We're friends, but that doesn't change anything. I'm still gonna fight him the same as I would fight my worst enemy.
Nick Newell and Eric Reynolds go to war for the strap. XFC 21, Night of Champions 2 on XSTV. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, where XFC 21 Night of Champions 2 is alive and happening, and we've got just one fight remaining. Perhaps the most talked about, the biggest fight in XFC history. Notorious Nick Newell, undefeated, takes on Eric Reynolds. Michael Chavello, Pat Miletich with you. All the talk surrounding this one has surrounded one man, Notorious Nick Newell. He was in USA Today as of yesterday, and people have turned out in their droves to support him here tonight, especially young Eli, all the way from Kansas City himself, who suffers from congenital amputation of the left arm. 10 fingers are overrated. He's got the Nick Newell t-shirt on tonight. Good to see him and a whole lot more here supporting Nick Newell. Pat, let's analyse this main event once more. Newell will come in as the underdog, minus 300. Is the favourite Reynolds, plus 230, the underdog Newell. What does Newell have to do to defeat Reynolds?
Well, I think simply he's got to close the gap. He's got to put Reynolds against the cage, and he's got to make him wrestle with him, make him carry his weight. A lot of dirty boxing. Use the congenital arm, the amputated arm, to throw those uppercuts, land those nasty elbows with it, and use his other hand to be heavy on the head a lot and hopefully get a takedown and get the finish.
We know that Eric Reynolds is going to do no favors whatsoever here tonight to Nick Newell. How do you expect Reynolds to come out? What will be the game plan if it's a wrap?
I think Reynolds is going to try and push the pace. I mean, I would cause chaos with this guy and try and put him on his back as early as possible, get the takedown, make Reynolds tired. So if he does get back up, his strikes aren't quite as quick and quite as devastating.
Pat, do you strike to that left side of the body that Nick will have more trouble protecting, or is that too predictable? Do you expect that Nick Newell's going to expect that Eric's going to come out striking that left side?
I think Reynolds is throwing head kicks all day long on that side and throwing the right hand.
Folks, the anticipation here is at fever pitch indeed. Let's take a closer look at this main event for the 155-pound title. Here it comes. Oh! Make me some room!
Brutal shot.
Nick Newell with the big kibosh. He's done it again!
Hey, I'll fight anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. Eric and I are friends. We're cool, so yeah, sure, I'll take that fight. Let's do it.
Choke it there.
This is it. This is the finish. It is good night, Irene. Eric Reynolds will fight Nick Newell December 7 for the title in Nashville.
I heard Nick Newell say he was taking the belt home with him. Well, I can give him my address so he can just bring it to me personally.
I'm not calling out Nick Newell. I want the belt. He's the guy standing in my way. So it's business. It's not about who called who out. It's just about who deserves the belt, and I believe I do.
We both figured it would happen eventually, but we're friends, but that doesn't change anything. I'm still gonna fight him the same as I would fight my worst enemy.
He's determined. He's proved himself in wrestling. He's made it to college level, and he's a determined person. So you can't take anything away from the guy. I have a lot of respect for him, and it's an honor to fight him.
When I hear the name Eric Reynolds, I think of a great fighter. He's just a really well-rounded, good fighter that comes in good shape with a lot of heart. It's definitely a tough fight for anyone, but I'll be ready for the task.
By winning the belt, I'm gonna be proving, to my family, my friends, and my fans. I'm in the sport that, I get what I put into it. I'm deserving of this. I have a lot of pro fights, and time is due. It's time to get my hardware.
To fight for a world title is an honor, and I plan on making the most of the opportunity. I plan on leaving the cage as a world champion. It's do or die, all out for me. I'm gonna lay it all out on the cage and give it everything I got. I'm well trained, I had a great camp, and I'm ready to whoop his ass.
It is the moment we have all been waiting for. Nick Newell versus Eric Reynolds for the title. Once again, let's throw it up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our main event of the evening. Please welcome into the arena, Eli's favorite fighter, Nick Newell.
A massive ovation as always for a young man who has captured the hearts and the imagination of millions. He's become an XFC sensation. He's become a YouTube sensation. He's become a media darling, and that is why undefeated 8-0, only once gone to decision against Chris Coggins. Everyone else here submitted or knocked out. The greatest Cinderella story in mixed martial arts. Will it have a fairy tale ending here tonight? Can Nick Newell win the championship? The atmosphere here in Nashville at the moment, well, I tell you what, Pat, XFC needed only to have sold the edge of the seats here because everyone is on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, this is an exciting fight. Toughest matchup for Newell yet in his career. The kid's been on a mission to be a champion. Very driven young man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the arena, Eric Reynolds.
It's not often that someone comes in the favourite with the bookmakers, but the clear underdog in the hype. That is the case with Eric Reynolds, and it hasn't bothered him. Because he has been saying for a long, long time, Pat, even before this fight was announced by John Briscoe, that he would be the man to put an end to the fairy tale run of Newell, whether it was for a title or not. Eric Reynolds always said, I'm going to take care of Newell. I'll be the first one to knock him out or to submit him. I'm going to show that Newell's not all that special.
Right, and he's got to be extremely motivated right now, knowing that coming into this fight, nobody has even paid that much attention to Eric Reynolds. It's all been about Nick Newell, so he wants to put this thing to bed tonight.
The tale of the tape for our main event. Undefeated Newell, 8-0, 16-5, Eric Reynolds, both at 26. In fact, they both share the very same birthday. 2 inches in reach to Nick Newell, and also 1 inch in height to Eric Reynolds. Our experts fight gauge. Striking, Eric Reynolds. Ground game, Nick Newell. Speed, Newell. Strength, Newell. Endurance is even. On paper, it should be a classic matchup. So much has been written. Websites, forums, newspapers, magazines. So much has been spoken on podcasts, radio, television. Now, after all the talk, we are finally ready to happen in this main event. Up to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening. Our referee in this bout will be Gary Copeland. Our judges at cage side, Anthony Manis, Keith Argabright, and David Hudson. Our timekeeper, Rod Cardone. Our doctors in attendance, Dr. Nathan Elliott and Dr. Curtis Bruner. This bout is being brought to you tonight by TPI. Enter to win a free Throat Punch IND t-shirt. Go to Facebook right now and like us at Throat Punch IND. That's Throat Punch IND. And always take life by the throat. So ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and all those watching at home live on Access TV, this is it! 5 rounds in the XFC lightweight division for the XFC lightweight championship of the world. And now, let's meet our fighters. From the blue corner, he's a wrestler, bringing a professional record of 8 wins and no defeats. Standing 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighing in 154.6 pounds. Representing Fighting Arts Academy and Ultimate MMA. Fighting out of Springfield, Massachusetts, by way of Milford, Connecticut. Please welcome the undefeated, notorious Nick and his opponent standing across the cage in the red corner. He's a freestyle fighter. He brings into the cage a professional record of 16 wins and 5 defeats. Standing in at 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighing 154.6 pounds. Tonight, he represents the Dungeon and he fights from Sarasota, Florida. Please welcome Eric "It's a Wrap" Reynolds. And our referee for our main event world title fight, Gary Copeland.
All right, listen up, fighters. You both receive your instructions in the back. Expect you to listen to my commands at all times. Have a clean, fair fight. Any questions out of you, Blue? How about you, Red? Let's touch them up, prepare to fight.
It is main event time. Notorious Nick Newell versus It's a Wrap Eric Reynolds. The closing odds for this one, courtesy of betonfighting.com. Reynolds a favourite, -250. They come back on Nick Newell at +200. We are set for 5 rounds. The championship at 155 pounds. Michael Chavello, Pat Miletich with you on Access TV. Southpaw stance, as always, for notorious Nick Newell. He starts off with some solid leg kicks, Pat.
Newell said he worked a lot on his kicks for this fight.
Newell trying to muscle his way and get Eric Reynolds onto his back. There's a high left round kick from Nick Newell. Overhand right from Newell, and Reynolds fires back with a right hand of his own. High left round kick from Newell.
Nice exchange there against the cage.
Reynolds is setting that right hand. Newell tries to catch the kicking leg.
Trying to lock onto his arm there. Got it locked. See what he does with it.
Oh, suplex! Belly to back suplex there from Nick Newell, and takes the back of Eric Reynolds.
This is where he needs to keep Reynolds. He's got that hook in one end. Now he's got the other one in. Let's see what he can do with it.
This is danger for Reynolds. This is where Nick Newell is so good. There's the arm under the chin now. The hooks are in for notorious Nick Newell. Is he on his way to a world championship?
This is where it's an advantage because he can't get hand control on that shorter arm. He's pulling down on the gloved hand, but that's already trapped.
Reynolds in trouble. Reynolds taps out. It's good night, Irene. The fairy tale comes true. Nick Newell is the XFC champion. A standing ovation here in Nashville.
That kid is happy.
Unbelievable scenes. Nashville has gone into meltdown. Nick Newell has gone into ecstasy. What a moment. John Briscoe there. He recognized the talent of Newell many moons ago. In the very first round, Nick Newell locking onto a superb submission, that vice-like grip. This is just an outpouring of emotion here.
Here it is. He gets that locked around the body, brings him up for the suplex, puts him down and gets right to work. He stays tight the whole time, looking to put that hook in. Good job of sneaking it in. Reynolds is looking for hand control to strip the top hand, but there isn't one, so you can't pull it down. He's pulling on the gloved one, the only one he can find, and it's trapped by the congenital arm. So he couldn't get anything free. That's where we talked about that arm, whether it was an advantage. Well, it certainly was in this particular position. Reynolds not able to find what he needed because it doesn't exist to get that control.
Not even the jaws of life could have gotten Eric Reynolds out of that predicament. Nick Newell wanted the championship. He got the championship. And he went into absolute ecstasy. The childhood dream has become a reality. A young fan, Eli, who also suffered from congenital amputation of the left arm, who traveled all the way here from Kansas City, Missouri, part of these celebrations with Team Nick Newell. This is not only a great moment in mixed martial arts, folks. This is a great moment in sport. This is just a beautiful story. It couldn't happen to a nicer young man. What an inspiration up to Christopher Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner at 1 minute and 22 seconds of round number 1, submission by a rear naked choke. And the new XFC lightweight champion of the world, notorious Nick Newell. Presenting him with the belt tonight, XFC President John Briscoe and Eli.
What a moment indeed. Eric Reynolds, always the sportsman. And it looks like Pat Miletich has the champ.
I'm in here with Nick Newell. Nick, we expected a little tougher fight than that. How about you?
Yeah, I did too. I trained for more than 5 rounds. You know, I was ready for a war, man. But, you know, if you see an opportunity, you take it. I'm an opportunist. That's why I have 8 first-round finishes. and just kept doing what I'm doing. You know, this is my coach right here, Jeremy and Scott. Jared lets me stay at his house and really watches everything that I do. He feeds me. I'm like his 4th child, so, you know, this is our belt too. You know, Ultimate MMA in North Haven, and I'd like to thank American Top Team for having me down and training for this fight. Mom, I love you. All my sponsors, especially in Milford, they came through huge this fight. Everyone watching at the Orange Jailhouse, you know, they're probably going crazy right now, Napoli Deli. LuckyFinProject.org for kids with limb differences. You know, my management teams for telling me to go to the XFC tryouts when I was just sitting around. I wanted to go out with my friends that night. They're like, you go home and go to sleep.
All right, well, I've got to say that...
I love you, Mom.
You started out the fight, bud. You threw some good exchanges in there with him, and you said you worked on your kicks a lot. You landed some heavy kicks. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, I've always had good kicks, and I knew once I got a hold of them, I got a great strength and conditioning program at Fitness Concept in Orange, Connecticut, and I knew I could overpower him, and I think he was sleeping on my submissions. I mean, when he fought Nevaeh, that dude's a world champion grappler, couldn't tap him out. I think maybe he was thinking, you know, he would get out, but I'm a different type of grappler.
You are, and let's talk about the submission. Now, when you got the rear choke on him, he was looking for hand control for the hand that was supposed to be up on the top of his head. Obviously, the hand doesn't exist, so he didn't know how to defend it. The arm was definitely, well, a benefit to you this time.
Yeah, you know, I don't really look too much into that. Everyone has different body types and different advantages and disadvantages. I got that choke because I train it. I got that choke because I work it every day. I got that choke because I work hard. I didn't get it because of the way I was born. I got it because of my good technique.
Absolutely. And Nick Newell, your new XFC champion. Congratulations.
Such an emotional moment here. Notorious Nick Newell with the championship gold around his waist. Finally, a dream realized. Just having a quick look at Twitter and online, such an outpouring of emotions associated with his fight. People watching at home live on XFC, several of them misty-eyed, several of them voicing their emotion, how proud and how inspired they are by Notorious Nick Newell. Wherever you're watching this one, folks, whether you're in front of your television, you're here at the venue, wherever you may be, you definitely saw history in the making tonight. If you followed Newell's run throughout his 9-fight career now, it has been a roller coaster. We almost saw him submitted a couple of fights ago by Chris Coggins. He battled through that to show what heart and resilience he has. Before that, he'd submitted every opponent in style. Then the last time out, he knocks out his opponent with stunning knees. And tonight, a belly-to-back suplex of Eric Reynolds, climbs Reynolds back, and taps him out with a beautiful choke. Is there anything Nick Newell cannot do, Pat?
I tell you what, it's impressive. It's for anybody to win a title in an organization against tough guys like he just did is an accomplishment. Impressive.
Pat, we've commentated thousands and thousands of fights over the years. We've seen thousands more. For me, this has to rank as one of the finest, most beautiful moments in my career, commentating Nick Newell to this championship here on XFC.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He's a great athlete, a lot of heart, and it shows what dedication can do for you. I think he's tired of us talking about his arm. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Just say that flat out. He's a great fighter.
Folks, that caps off what was a brilliant night here at XFC 21. Let's take you back through it. The card began with Jared Card. After losing 3 in a row, he's back in the winner's circle. A second round guillotine choke over Keith Richardson. Next up at 170, Ricky Rainey back in the winner's circle against high-intensity Tommy Wallace. It didn't take long for Ricky Rainey by a first round TKO. Right hand followed by ground and pound. Marcus Finch took on Dustin West in our next fight of the night, 205 pounds. Knockout in the first round, but it was due to a headbutt. This one may be overruled. It was a TKO win for Finch and may be called a no contest. The fight of the night was the women's fight. Stephanie Egging versus Heather Jo Clark at 115. Clark began well, opening round overhand right, bludgeoning up the left eye area of Stephanie Egging. Egging came on strong in the second and third and won by decision. Ryan Thomas versus Corey Hill. Corey Hill's return to the ring was short-lived. Ryan Thomas did what he does best, lock on a submission in the very first round. A beautiful armbar.
Don't grab that cage.
And then in our main event, you may still be wiping your eyes. Nick Newell versus Eric Reynolds. We've dubbed Newell the human highlight reel for very good reason, because he does this time and time again. Belly to back suplex, climbs Eric Reynolds, sinks a choke that Reynolds had no way out of. History made here in Nashville, Tennessee. Notorious Nick Newell, 9-0, realizes a dream, becomes an MMA champion. Folks, that's how it played out here in Nashville, Tennessee for XFC 21. Our executive producer of Access Sports is Daryl Ewalt. Our director of tonight's program, Jason Bourne. Our features producer and editor, Mike Ricci. Director of live operations, Chris Markwell. Associate producer, Amy Vaughan. Tape producer, Josh Harper. Lead audio by TC Smith. Remote engineering, Dan Neighbours and Lonnie Thomas. Field production, Jim Van Vrenken and Kevin Sanchez. Manager of Business Affairs, Adam Swift. The CEO of Access Fights is Andrew Simon. From my broadcast partner, Pat Militich, I'm the voice, Michael Chavello, saying so long from Music City. See you in Dallas next Friday night.